Hi folks. Well, it's another chatty one. I'm going to talk to you about two things. One is strings, because Simon Alexander asked me my opinion on strings, and also I want to say something about humidity and managing it in extremis. So, strings, first of all. I believe that guitar strings are like underpants. It's a very personal issue, and so what is right for me isn't going to be right for you, and I know that various people, or I've seen various people on the forums write about how they have different strings for each guitar and things like that. I tend not to do that. I have a pretty simplistic approach to it. I use medium gauge on my dreadnoughts and on my jumbo and on my arch tops, and I use light gauge on my triple O, my double O, and my Waterloo WL12. And generally speaking, those are all D'Addario non-coated EJ17s for my dreadnoughts and the larger guitars, EJ16s for my smaller guitars, and on my 12 string I use EJ37s, and just to give you an idea, they sound like this. This, of course, is tuned down one tone so that the first and the sixth is D. That kind of equalises the tension. I can't be doing with strings less than 12 thou. Just too fiddly, too easily bent out, too fragile. There is 110 in that set on the G, which I don't like much, but the tension of that tuned down to D is about the same as a lighter set tuned up to concert. At the moment, my dreadnoughts have an owner that can't play, but these are John Pierce strings. Number 700M, model 700M, or whatever. These are highly recommended, highly thought of by people on the Collins forum, and so I thought I'd buy 4 sets, put them all on my dreadnoughts, and my first impression was that they were punchy. But when I was playing this particular guitar, which is Sitka over Rosewood, at a concert on Saturday night and rehearsing day before yesterday, I feel that when I'm starting to dig in, the tension is perhaps a little bit lower than D'Addario, and that doesn't suit me. So, horses for courses. These are the D'Addario strings are what I will replace them, and I will stay with those indefinitely, as long as the tariffs aren't too restrictive. I have tried other makes now. I wanted to talk to you about Elixir strings. Elixir are a really good idea for people that have acid body chemistry, or are extremely sweaty, or perhaps play in extremely high humidity situations. They don't suit me. I bought a set a little while ago, and they cost just over twice the cost of D'Addario's. I bought a set to put on my jumbo that I wanted to leave out in the lounge for a while, They didn't last any longer than D'Addario's. They started discolouring. I don't wait until my strings go dead. I usually change them when they discolour. I used to change my strings about every 2 months. I tend to do it every 3 months now. Doesn't seem to make much difference. Coated strings, if you have that problem with your body chemistry, and I know some people that can knock out a set of phosphor strings in an hour or two. I don't have that problem, so they're not for me. So that's strings covered pretty much. Now, humidity. I live in the southeast of England, not far from the British Channel, or the English Channel, and frankly, we don't have too much in the way of extreme weather here. We have had a rather long winter and a late spring, and during the winter, in our insulated double skin brick built houses with our double glazed windows, humidity gets rather low in the houses during winter, and it was going down to around 30 and perhaps sometimes below 30 here. I didn't panic because I've never panicked before, but I have noticed that guitars, especially guitars that have been left out in the lounge, have started to get rather brittle sounding, and I've had a little bit of problems with the middle of the fretboard. So I've realised that humidity, or lack of thereof, has had an effect on some of my instruments. And I think this issue probably affects better made guitars than lesser made guitars, or more budget ones. So what do? Well, I always have little hydrometers about the house and in every guitar case. This will look remarkably similar to the one that is sold under the Oasis brand, and for about £30, and these cost less than 10. As far as I can see, they're exactly the same. They give me a pretty good idea. You can see the reading on this is saying that there is no humidity. That means that it's below 30 according to this. So what have I done? A little while ago I read or heard somewhere, I thought it was on YouTube, I thought it was on the AGF, I can't find it, someone recommending a homemade humidifier, which was basically a small soap dish like this, filled with something called water beads. I hope you can see that. I have no idea of what the purpose of these water beads were. I looked on eBay and I found a supply of them. You can buy little bags like this for less than £1, which probably means less than $1 to you. These things cost me pennies, and so I bought both products. I drilled holes in these things, put the water beads in, and stuck them in the neck area of the guitar cases. Now, of course, the main part of the guitar that's affected by low humidity is actually the top and the body, or where the top attaches to the body. And you may have seen items like this on sale, which is a little item that basically is a little plastic box with some holes in and has some sponge in, and you put it in there and you press it between the two strings and you leave it like that. Try not to drop it into the body of the guitar. These can be had from some very reputable companies for a rather large amount. I bought that on eBay a week or two ago for less than £1. I've just ordered a few more. It seems a perfectly, it's worth a try for £1 each, and I can't see any reason why this would cause any damage to the guitar. But a guitar in a case means that the environment for that guitar is going to be more stable for a longer period than day and night, sunshine and cold and things like that in the house. When you take it going out, you know, you have to play in the environment you're given. So that's all I wanted to say about humidity. It does have an effect. In the UK, It's probably about 90% humidity out there at the moment because it's a very hot and clammy day, I know, because I've just been to the gym. And inside I've got less than 30% humidity in this little conservatory. So things do vary, but I know someone that lives in Montana, and his humidity rarely rises above 25%, so he has to keep gallons of water underneath his guitars, which are in cases, in display cases and things. We don't have that extremis in this country. But those are my thoughts. It's worth considering, it's worth monitoring. These things are usually available for vivariums, keeping lizards or snakes or something, and so they can be had for a little bit cheaper than the Planet Waves or the D'Addario ones or whatever. And these things, have a look for them. So that's all I wanted to say. I hope that's useful. And again, thank you to Simon Alexander for asking the question about strings. I hope that answers it. Oh, by the way, about strings, I don't like bronze strings. I prefer phosphor bronze. Again, personal preference. If you have any other questions, please ask them down below. I do read the remarks, and I will do my best to respond. So if you have been, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.